Hi, my name is Luigi, and in this video, this is another video game theory video, a short one, and I might have been a little bit overzealous in my praise of the railroad in Fallout 4. Spoiler alert, I'm also going to be making a lot of spoilers, so you have been warned. Okay, the ending. In my opinion, I still think the railroad ending is the best, although who knows if Bethesda's going to make that canon. The Brotherhood of Steel ending could be canon for all we know. But I just want to say that I agree with what people say. The railroad aren't world builders. They're not engineers. They're more guerrilla warfare experts. They're substitutes. They're super spies. It's the French resistance in Nazi occupied France. That's basically the railroad. So they don't have the the manpower to create settlements. Their mission is to free Sims, because if you believe it, your opinion anyway, is that Sims are sentient beings. Not people, but they're still beings with emotions and thoughts and personalities, and they're pretty much indistinguishable except for the Sim component inside their heads to humanity. But I still think that even though the Minutemen are about helping the Commonwealth, helping settlers without asking anything in return, and they're more world builders, their focus is on settlements, and the fact that they do level up with you if your player character, if the sole survivor is level 60, the Minutemen NPCs, the ones that replace settlers in Minutemen outposts, will level up to level 60 with you, right? The only faction that the Institute doesn't, the Brotherhood doesn't, they're the only one who does this. But I still think that the Minutemen are a bit too small time. Maybe they can affect the Commonwealth, but I don't see them becoming an NCR. Just look at their history. They all rely on a single person, their general, their leader, and if that general falls, then they're in disarray, right? I mean, you just got to look at the history of the Quincy massacre by the Gunners, the Mirelurk in the castle. I just think that they're gonna fall apart, right? They don't have I still think they're too weak to actually become a strong force in the wasteland. Maybe just for the Commonwealth, but not for the entire wasteland. I still think they're a little bit too weak. The other thing I want to make note is that when the railroad helps synths, was one thing I forgot to mention in my other video, is that they give the Sims freedom, right? They mind wipe them, they give them a new personality, a new face, a new voice, right? They also give them freedom. Now, freedom is a noble thing, and everyone deserves freedom. However, this freedom also gives you the freedom to choose to do evil things and not just good things. And this is a concept that we know in real life. For those living in democratic free countries, I just feel weird saying that for some reason, you have a choice to do good, to be nice to people, or you can choose to be an asshole. And because you're free to choose. Obviously, one of these options is more preferable than the other. However, you are free to choose. It's much more okay. In reality, in real life, it's easy being an asshole. It's supremely easy of being mean to someone, of screaming and shouting and threatening with violence to being a bully. It's easy. And that is a parallel to the Raiders. And it's much harder to being a nice person, to be forgiving and kind and generous. It's harder to do that, but I believe that being kind and generous is actually much more beneficial in the long run. It actually gives you more endorphins, serotonin, whatever. It makes you more happier than being an asshole, which only gives you temporary happiness, to be honest. So, the Sims that the railroad help out has the freedom to choose to be evil, and this is recognized in one of the quests that you do for the Institute, I believe, of a guy called Gabriel, who chooses to be, he's a synth, he chooses to be a raider, to be a bully, to be mean. But I don't think the railroad purposely reprograms these Sims to be evil. They're just giving them the freedom of choice to choose, and unfortunately Gabriel chose to be a murderous thug, right? So in a way, the railroad has indirectly caused the deaths of some settlers, some traders in the wasteland, but I don't think they're malicious and doing it on purpose. Unlike the Institute, who actually programs their Sims for subterfuge to insert them into places like Diamond City and to cause havoc and to feed information. They do it for ill, consciously. So one last point is, when you finish the ending on the railroad side, you see that your contact in the Institute, Patriot, who was responsible in helping to get a number of Sims to escape the destruction of the Institute to freedom. He was vital in their mission of freeing Sims to the railroad. He dies. He commits suicide, actually, and it left me as the player character, the sole survivor, feeling a little bit upset because I indirectly caused this young man's death. And he commits suicide for a number of reasons. One is because his father, who was the head of advanced robotics in the Institute, I should really stop doing this when I'm sick. And also because he felt betrayed by you, felt betrayed by the player character, because we destroyed all his ideals. We destroyed the Institute, we destroyed what he was working on, and he felt he could trust us. And there's one point in one of the quests, Underground Undercover, where you have the choice of freeing just a bunch of Sims like Patriot wanted, or all the Sims, lots and lots of Sims. And it's actually quite sweet. They actually, the members of the railroad actually come up to Patriot and send him off with a little funeral kind of ceremony. But they still have, got their mission, and they still continue with the mission, and it's still, it's this attitude of like, let's not speak about this. Like, we can't let this secret get out. We got to keep these secrets to the grave. Like, shut down your emotions. But it does seem that the railroad did actually care for Patriot, and unfortunately that he died for the cause. So the railroad aren't lacking for their humanity, as ironic as that may seem. Anyway, those are a few of my thoughts regarding the railroad and my opinion on the relationship with the ending. I would love to hear your opinion, and thank you so much for watching this. Bye.